Murcia is one of the most underrated regions in Spain, and it gives you everything. Historic cities, Roman ruins, hidden waterfalls, wild beaches, mountain views, and coastal towns that still feel local. In this video, I'm not just showing you the top things to do in Murcia, I'm showing you the smartest order to do them, grouped into easy zones so you don't waste your trip zigzagging all over the map. Here's the journey ahead. We start in Murcia City, Zone 1, the region's capital where cathedral towers, grand plazas, and local food spots give you that perfect first taste of Murcia. From there, we head into the North Inland countryside, Zone 2, through Ricote Valley for one of the most beautiful drives in the region, then into canyon rafting, caves, cliffside sanctuaries, and hidden freshwater gems. Next, we'll move into the mountain and fortress, Zone 3, where Caravaca, Barrancos de Gebas, Sierra Espuña, and Lorca bring together nature, big views, and layers of history. After that, we make our way to the Cartagena and East Coast Zone, Zone 4, Roman ruins, military viewpoints, lighthouse panoramas, and some of the most stunning beaches in the region. Then we slow it down along the Salt Flats and Mar Menor edge, Zone 5, with flamingos, wetlands, bike paths, and marina views around San Pedro del Pinatar. And finally, we finish the southwest coast road trip stretch, Zone 6, Bolnuevo, Mazarrón, and Aguillas, where surreal rocky formations, mining history, and castle views wrap up the trip in the best way. At the end, I'll tell you which zones are best if you only have 1, 2, or 3 days. Zone 1, Capital Core. 1. Explore Murcia City. Murcia, the capital city, sits right on the banks of the Segura River in the eastern part of the region, and it's one of the best places to start if you want culture, food, and history all in one stop. The city's biggest draw is the stunning Gothic Baroque Santa Maria Cathedral and the beautiful Plaza del Cardenal Belluga, where the architecture feels like a perfect mix of old-world Spain and modern city life. You can climb the bell tower for panoramic city views, plan around $9 to $12 depending on the visit type, or just grab a coffee in the square for around $3 to $6 and soak in the atmosphere. At the opposite end of the plaza, you'll spot the controversial Moneo building, which houses the town hall, and right beside it, the gorgeous pink Bishop's Palace from the 1750s. If you're looking for gastronomy, history, culture, and that slightly less touristy side of Spain, you really need to give Murcia City a full day. Insider tip: go early in the morning or around golden hour for the cathedral area. The light is better, the square is calmer, and you'll get cleaner photos before the midday crowds. Now that we've done the capital, let's head inland into Murcia's most underrated side. River valleys, caves, rafting, and small towns that feel completely different from the coast. Zone 2, North Inland and River Valleys. 2. Ricote Valley. Valle de Ricote, or Ricote Valley, is one of the most beautiful and underrated parts of not just Murcia, but honestly all of Spain. This area is packed with history, cave drawings, Iberian settlements, Roman ruins, and the iconic Hispano-Muslim Medina Siasa all tell the story of how layered this region really is. Cieza, a farming town known for peaches and olives, is usually the first stop, and if you visit in spring during Floración de Cieza, the peach blossoms create a giant pink blanket around the town that looks unreal. From there, the river winds through Abarán, Blanca, Ojos, Arquena, Ricote, and Ulea, and each village has its own charm, so it's a great area to explore slowly instead of rushing. You can drive the valley for free aside from fuel, or make it active with cycling, hiking, horse riding, or rafting. And if you rent a bike, expect around $20 to $40 for the day depending on the shop and bike type. Insider tip: if you're filming or taking photos, start in Cieza and work downstream. The scenery opens up beautifully and the day flows more naturally. 3. Rafting in Almadenes Canyon. For a totally different experience in Murcia, book a rafting trip on the Segura River through Almadenes Canyon. It's one of the most memorable activities in the region. My family and I absolutely loved this, and even though my mom was skeptical at first, it turned out to be calm and scenic rather than extreme, with no wild drops or scary rapids. The guides here are usually patient, funny, and very knowledgeable, and the whole experience is more about enjoying the landscape than adrenaline. You'll spend about 2 hours floating through a protected area with lush river forests, rocky cliffs, ancient cave art zones, and if you're lucky, even wildlife like otters. Typical price is about $47 per person for the rafting experience. Insider tip: bring water shoes and a dry bag. The ride is gentle, but your phone and shoes will thank you. 4. Go spelunking in Cueva del Puerto. Close to the rafting area in Calaspada, Cueva del Puerto is an impressive limestone cave and one of the coolest underground experiences in Murcia. Inside, you'll see huge stalactites, stalagmites, and flowstones that were shaped over thousands of years by water erosion and mineral deposits, and it really does feel like stepping into another world. During the guided visit, you'll descend about 50 meters underground and explore the cave in a very Indiana Jones kind of way while learning how the formations developed and how the cave was discovered in 1966. It's a great combo with rafting because the two are in the same inland adventure zone and give you a nature and history day without long transfers. The cave tour is usually about $20 per person. Insider tip: bring a light layer even in summer. Caves stay cool, and the temperature difference feels bigger after being outside in Murcia heat. 5. Light a candle at Our Lady of Hope Sanctuary. Hop about 20 minutes down the road, you'll find Santuario Virgen de la Esperanza, Our Lady of Hope Sanctuary, a beautiful spiritual site built into rocky cliffs along the Segura River. What makes this place special is that part of the sanctuary is inside a natural cave, carved out when the river level used to be much higher. The local legend goes, back in the 16th century, when a shepherd found an image of Virgen de la Esperanza, La Pequeñica, or the Little One, inside the cave. Today, the sanctuary is still a pilgrimage site and a place where people come to pay tribute to loved ones, and it has a peaceful, emotional atmosphere that feels very different from big tourist stops. Entry is free, though donations are encouraged, and lighting a candle is usually just a few dollars. There's also a restaurant on site and scenic picnic areas around the grounds. Insider tip: visit late morning or early evening for the best light on the cliffs and river walkway, and keep your voice low inside. It's an active religious site, not just a viewpoint. 6. Salto del Ucero. Salto del Ucero, just outside Buyas, is a gorgeous natural oasis and one of Murcia's best hidden gems, especially in summer. This spot is a protective site of geological interest, and the waterfall and emerald rock pools feel like an inland beach when the temperatures are high. It's one of my favorite places in Murcia because it still feels local, and even though more people know about it now, it still has that you found something special vibe. Every year on June 23rd, crowds gather here for a 225-year-old tradition that reenacts the legend of a Moorish princess who jumped into the river after being stood up by her Christian lover. Access is free, but you can't drive all the way down to the water, so expect a short walk in. Insider tip: go early. Parking fills up fast in warm months, and the biggest mistake people make is arriving late and expecting a quiet nature stop. 7. Caravaca de la Cruz. Caravaca de la Cruz is a charming mountain town on the river Argos near the border area between Murcia and Granada, and it's one of the most interesting historic stops in the region. The town has deep roots. Iberians, Romans, and Muslims all lived here, and today it's known as the fifth holy city alongside Rome, Jerusalem, Santiago de Compostela, and Camaleño, which makes it an important pilgrimage destination. According to local legend, Moorish king Abu Zaid converted to Christianity here, seeing two angels bring a cross down from heaven. Even if you're not religious, the old town is absolutely worth visiting for the atmosphere, the stone streets, and the layered history. The basilica towering over the city with its ornate Baroque facade and panoramic views is beautiful, and a self-guided visit is usually free. Some museums or add-on exhibits can run about $3 to $8. Insider tip: Wear comfortable shoes, the streets are lovely but uneven, and the uphill sections are steeper than they look on camera. Next, we're moving into Murcia's rugged side. Badlands, mountain air, forests, and one of the region's biggest fortress experiences. Zone 3, Mountains, Badlands, and Fortress Country. 8. Hike Barrancos de Gebas. Barrancos de Gebas is one of the most dramatic natural landscapes in Murcia, a badlands area full of steep cliffs, ravines, and rugged terrain that looks almost otherworldly. The landscape was formed over millions of years by wind and water erosion, which created all these layers, textures, and color shifts in the rock. It's one of those places that feels massive and quiet at the same time, and the views over the reservoir nearby make it even more photogenic. The area is also home to wildlife, including birds, reptiles, and small mammals, so it's not just about geology, it's a living landscape. Hiking here is free, and it's a fantastic stop if you want something less touristy and more raw. Insider tip: go in the morning or late afternoon. Midday sun here is brutal, and the terrain looks way better with angled light. 9. Sierra Espuña. Sierra Espuña is a majestic mountain range and natural park right in the heart of Murcia, and it's the perfect reset if you need cooler air and a break from the coast. The landscape here is incredibly varied, rugged peaks, deep valleys, and pine forests, and it's home to wildlife like Spanish ibex and golden eagles, so it feels wild in the best way. The park is crisscrossed with trails for hiking, mountain biking, and even rock climbing, so whether you want a short scenic stop or a full active day, it works. One of the coolest details is the old snow wells or pozos de nieve, where winter snow used to be stored and used as ice throughout the year. A really interesting historical layer most people don't expect. Park entry is free, and if you add activities like bike rental or a guided route, expect roughly $15 to $60 depending on what you choose. Insider tip: keep a light jacket in the car. Even in warmer months, Sierra Espuña can feel surprisingly cool compared to Murcia City and the coast. 10. Explore Lorca Castle. Lorca Castle, also known as Fortaleza del Sol, the Fortress of the Sun, is one of Murcia's biggest historical highlights and the main attraction in Lorca, which is often called the Baroque City. The castle's location was strategic between two Christian kingdoms and the Moorish kingdom of Granada, so it saw a lot of action between the 9th and 15th centuries. Today, it's more than just a fortress. There's a museum with multi-sensory exhibits that walk you through its turbulent history, which makes it a fun and educational stop for families too. It was declared a National Historic Monument in 1931, and after the 2011 earthquake caused damage, restoration became a major priority. At around 640 meters long and 120 meters wide, it's one of the largest and most impressive castles in Spain. Plan around $10 to $18 depending on the ticket package and whether you include special areas or guided access. Insider tip: give yourself extra time here. People think it's a quick castle stop, but the site is huge and the exhibits make it much more than just a viewpoint. Now we're heading to the coast. Roman history, military views, lighthouse panoramas, and some of the best beaches in the region, all in one zone. Zone 4, Cartagena Bay and coastal highlights. 11. Cartagena. No trip to Murcia is complete without Cartagena. This port city is packed with history, and every street feels like it has a story. Because of its strategic position on the Costa Cálida, it was shaped by multiple civilizations, especially Romans and Arabs, and you can really feel that layered history as you walk around. The main landmark is the Roman Theater, which dates back to ancient times and was dramatically rediscovered in 1988 during the demolition of another old building. Today, you can visit both the theater and the museum does a great job of turning the site into a real journey through time instead of just old stones. Expect around $8 to $12 for a standard Roman theater and museum visit depending on the ticket format. Insider tip: do the museums first, then the theater. It makes the ruins much more meaningful once you have the story in your head. 12. Bateria de Castillitos. Built between 1926 and 1933 to defend Cartagena Bay, Bateria de Castellitos looks almost like a Disney-style fortress dropped onto a cliff, and the views are absolutely incredible. You can explore bunkers, towers, and giant guns up close, and the whole place feels like part military site, part movie set. The cannons built by the British were among the best of their time and were positioned so they couldn't easily be seen from sea level. Even though they were capable of firing over 35 miles, they were reportedly only fired once during the Spanish Civil War, which makes the place feel even more surreal. Visiting is free, but the road up is narrow and winding, so drive slowly and confidently. Insider tip: bring snacks or a picnic. This is one of the best sit and stay a while viewpoints in Murcia, and the rooftop-style views are amazing for a lunch break. 13. Cabo de Palos Lighthouse. Cabo de Palos Lighthouse is one of the most beautiful lighthouse viewpoints in Spain, and the setting on that rocky headland makes it feel really dramatic. The lighthouse itself, originally designed as a watchtower area to help defend against pirate attacks, has been operating since 1865 and sits 81 meters above sea level. Even though the lighthouse interior usually isn't open to the public, the walk up beside it is worth it for the panoramic 360-degree coastal views. This is also where La Manga begins, that long, narrow strip of land separating the Mediterranean from the Mar Menor, so geographically it's a great reference point too. The walk-up viewpoint is free, and it's one of the best value stops in the region because the views feel way more expensive than they are. Insider tip: come near sunset if you can. The light over the sea and cliffs is unreal, and this is one of the easiest high-impact viewpoints to film. 14. Spend a day at Playa de Calblanque. Playa de Calblanque is a chain of golden beaches inside Parque Regional de Calblanque. And if you want that wild, protected, natural beach feeling, this is the place. The reserve has been protected since 1987, and the beaches here have soft sand, clear turquoise water, and a more untouched look than many of the built-up coastal spots. It's one of my most favorite beaches in Murcia, and honestly one of the most beautiful beach areas I've visited in Spain. Because it's a protected area, it's really important to respect the rules. Stay out of closed zones, don't leave trash, and treat it like a natural reserve, not a resort beach. Beach access is free, though in some periods, you may need to account for seasonal transport or parking logistics. Insider tip: bring water, shade, and anything you need before you go. Part of what makes Calblanque special is that it feels less developed, which also means fewer conveniences. 15. Playa del Conde. Playa del Conde is a smaller beach, but it's a favorite for a reason. Calm, shallow waters, soft, light-colored sand, and a relaxed feel that works really well for families or anyone who wants a quieter beach stop. I especially love it because the water is gentle for swimming, and if you have a paddleboard, this is a great place to use it. On clear days, you can see the La Manga Strip in the distance, and there's even a historic watchtower from 1591 nearby that was used to warn locals of threats like Berber pirates. It's one of the most picturesque beaches in Murcia in a more understated way. Not huge, not flashy, just really beautiful. Access is free, so it's easy to pair this with Cabo de Palos or Cartagena in the same day. Insider tip: this is a great slow hour stop. Come when you need a reset between bigger sightseeing spots. Next up is the Mar Menor side, salt flats, flamingos, boardwalks, and one of the easiest nature and food combos in Murcia. Zone 5, salt flats and Mar Menor edge. 16. San Pedro del Pinatar. San Pedro del Pinatar Nature Reserve is the most important wetland in the Murcia region and a must if you love birds, nature walks, or easy scenic circling. Flamingos are the stars here, but you'll also see other migratory birds like herons and seabirds depending on the season. The public area includes salt flats, reed beds, pine forest sections, and the dunes near Torre Deribada Beach, so the scenery changes a lot as you move through the reserve. You can explore on foot for free, or rent a bike in Lo Pagan or near the mud baths for around $12 to $25 depending on the rental length and bike type. On the edge of the reserve, Puerto Marina de las Salinas adds a completely different vibe. You can go diving, rent a jet ski or yacht, or just eat by the marina. If you stop for food, a casual meal by the marina is often around $15 to $35, while water activities vary a lot. Insider tip: go early in the day for the best bird watching and softer light. By midday, it gets hotter, and the birds can be harder to spot. And finally, we're finishing in Murcia's southwest. Surreal rock formations, old mining landscapes, and one of the most photogenic castle and coast combos in the region. Zone 6, Southwest Coast and Hidden Gems. 17. Marvel at Ciudad Encantada de Bolnuevo. Ciudad Encantada de Bolnuevo, the enchanted city of Bolnuevo, is one of the most unusual landscapes, not just in Murcia, but in all of Spain. These sandstone formations were carved by wind and water over thousands of years, and they look almost sculptured by hand. It's one of those places that feels simpler on paper, but looks incredible in real life, especially if you're into photography or drone-style scenic footage. The shapes, textures, and colors make an amazing backdrop for photos, and the stop is quick enough to combine with Mazarrón and the coast in one day. Visiting is free, which makes it one of the best value nature stops in the region. Insider tip: go around sunrise or golden hour. The sandstone color pops way more when the light is low. 18. Mazarrón Mines. The land around Mazarrón has been mined since Roman times for iron, lead, silver, copper, and alum, and the whole area tells a story of geology and industry at the same time. The rich mineral deposits came from volcanic activity, and mining in Mazarrón peaked in the 1840s before declining by the 1950s, when many of the mines were abandoned. That mining boom helped drive wealth between nearby places like Cartagena, which is why this stop connects so well with the Cartagena zone if you're interested in regional history. Today, the landscape is full of vivid mineral colors caused by sulfur and mining waste, and those colors against the ruins make it an amazing place for photography. Guided mine tours typically run around $12 to $20, depending on the format and whether transport is included. Insider tip: wear closed shoes, even on a light tour. The ground can be uneven and dusty, and people always underestimate that here. 19. Águilas Castle. Águilas, near the Andalusia border, is the southernmost town in the region, and it's a great mix of bays, harbors, rocky points, and sandy beaches. The standout attraction is Castillo de San Juan de las Águilas, an 18th century military fortress built to spot enemies, especially Berber pirates, from high above the sea. The castle was restored in 2007 and opened to the public in 2009, and it's a great family-friendly stop because the views are excellent and the walk-up feels rewarding without being too difficult. From the top, you get wide panoramas over Águilas and the coastline, and it's easy to see why this was such an important defensive point. The entry fee is usually about $2 to $3 for adults, and it's often free for children and students. A great starting point for the walk up is the tourist office at the base of the headland. Insider tip: do this before lunch, then explore the waterfront after. The timing works really well, and the uphill climb is easier before the heat peaks. 20. Rincón del Hornillo in Águilas. Hidden behind El Hornillo Beach in Águilas, Rincón del Hornillo is a colorful mosaic corner that feels like a surprise art installation no one told you about. It was created by Juan Martínez Casuco, who worked on the local railways and started this gaudy-inspired project after retirement, spending 12 years building it. He also created another nearby area called Ermita, so this stop has a real personal story layer that makes it even more special. To the left of the staircase, there's a small bar still run by his son, which makes the whole place feel even more local and authentic. Visiting the mosaic area is free, and if you stop for a drink or a snack at the bar, expect around $3 to $10. Insider tip: this is a perfect short stop to pair with Águilas Castle. Most people rush past it, but it adds a lot of personality to your day and gives you something different from beaches and fortresses. Useful info before visiting Murcia. Best time to visit Murcia. The best time to visit Murcia is spring, March to May, and fall, September to November, when the weather is warm, the countryside looks great, and road tripping between towns, beaches, and inland spots feels much easier. Summer is still a popular time because of the coast, but Murcia can get very hot, especially inland. So, if you come in July or August, plan outdoor activities early in the morning and save city walks for the evening. If you want fewer crowds and lower stress, spring and early fall are the sweet spot. Where to stay in Murcia? Where you stay in Murcia depends on the kind of trip you want. For a city-based stay, Murcia capital is the best choice for cathedral views, plaza, food, and easy day trips, and many well-rated stays commonly fall around $69 to $111 per night, with some lower or higher depending on season. If you want a coastal base, Cabo de Palos, La Manga, Mar Menor is great for lighthouse views, beaches, and marina restaurants, with typical stays ranging roughly from $86 to $148 per night, while upscale resorts can go much higher, around $259 and up. For a quieter inland stop, Lorca is a strong option for castle access and a more local feel, with many hotels often around $57 to $102 per night. Prices rise in summer and holiday weeks, so booking early helps a lot. How to get around Murcia? The Murcia region is best explored by rental car, especially if you want to cover inland spots, beaches, castles, and natural parks in one trip without wasting time. Inside Murcia City, you can use local buses and the tram for cheap, easy movement, but for this kind of top things to do itinerary, driving is the real game changer. In Murcia City, tram and urban transport fares are relatively affordable, which is helpful if you're doing a city day before starting your road trip. If you're flying in, the region of Murcia Airport is the main arrival point for many travelers, and from there, a car gives you the most flexibility. Where to eat in Murcia? Murcia's amazing for food, especially if you like fresh produce, rice dishes, seafood, and classic tapas. In Murcia City, you can eat very well without spending much. A simple local meal is often around $14, while a nicer dinner for two at a mid-range restaurant usually lands around $45 total. Tapas, pastries, and casual bites are usually affordable, and coffee is typically around $2, so it's easy to build a full food day on a reasonable budget. In coastal areas like Cabo de Palos and Cartagena, seafood restaurants can run a bit higher depending on the catch and location, but Murcia overall is still one of the better value regions in Spain for eating well. Alright, before you go, here's the quick cheat sheet for which zones to prioritize depending on how much time you have. If you have one day, do Zone 1 or Zone 4 depending on whether you want city culture or coast and history. If you have 2 days, do Zone 1 plus Zone 4. If you have 3 days, do Zone 1 plus Zone 4 plus Zone 2. If you have 4 days, do Zone 1 plus Zone 2 plus Zone 5. Then add Zone 3 and Zone 6 if you want more inland nature, mountain towns, and less touristy road trip days. If this helped you plan your Murcia trip, hit subscribe and share this video with a friend you'd travel with. It makes the whole trip way easier when you're on the same game plan.